They tried resuscitating him, taken to a hospital where he was pronounced dead.
On July 24, 2025, the world was caught off guard by shocking news. Hulk Hogan, one of the most famous wrestlers in history, had passed away suddenly. For millions of fans who grew up watching him, this was not just the death of a man, but the end of an era.
And I don't mean to be an egomaniac, but I mean, I could actually wrestle anybody at that time and sell out. We sold out everywhere constantly for years. I walked in, the doctor pulled me aside and goes, "Hey, your buddy here has destroyed his body, the inside of some of his intestines."
Yet, as the tributes poured in and memories of his incredible career filled social media, something unexpected surface-leaked recordings of his last moments at home. These recordings showed paramedics fighting to save him as he was rushed out on a stretcher, and they raised serious questions about what really happened.
In the last 10 or 12 years, I've had like 25 surgeries. Don't you ever let anybody hurt you again. So, it straightened me right up. So a few months later, when my leg was healed, I went back and I had that attitude, because when I was younger, I was real strong and kind of aggressive.
What was first thought to be a natural passing now seemed more mysterious, leaving fans and the wrestling world unsettled. The leaked video spread quickly in today's digital age. Moments like this travel across the world within seconds, and that's exactly what happened. Millions of people shared, commented, and debated what they saw. In the footage, Hulk Hogan, real name Terry Gene Bollea, was shown being wheeled out of his clear water.
Wrestling like 12, 13 times a week, and they're giving me a check for $125.
Oh yeah, when you're beating the shit out of somebody at a Best Western.
Yeah, I was gigging my head for $5 a night. Then I figured the business out.
Right.
Then I went back, and one time I slammed somebody. I looked at the crowd, like that, and the reaction got more response than the body slam.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute. Let me hit somebody in the throat, and then look, and the reaction got more. And I said, okay, now I got it. It took me a while to figure it out.
So you were a king there.
As soon as I walked in there, I was over. And
was it interesting? What was it like? What was the fanhood like, and how they treat fans different in America and Japan?
Well, over in Japan, they treat you like, you're royalty. It's just like Brad Pitt and, Tom Brady all in one. You know what I mean?
Florida home, while paramedics performed CPR in a desperate attempt to revive him. For those who admired him, this was not the memory they wanted to hold on to. The larger-than-life superstar who once stood tall in arenas packed with cheering fans was reduced to a heartbreaking reality. This clip became the final visual record of his life, forever burned into the minds of those who saw it. What made this even more difficult was the sharp contrast to how Hogan had appeared just weeks earlier. He had been lively.
I had started the Hulkamania thing in Minnesota.
Got it.
And I had crazy momentum. And if you look back on some of my AWA matches in Minnesota and see how the crowd would react when I'd play that Eye of the Tiger music, that don, I'd come out, the place would go crazy. I shouldn't go to. Like Kansas City, where Harley Race, this ex-Marine, was the NWA World's Champion. And when I showed up, he tried to burn the ring down at 12 in the afternoon. And then that night when I came to the building, he put a gun to my... And the more evil and the horrible stuff I did, the more people cheered me. So the worse I got, and the nastier I got, and the meaner I got, and the evil, as evil as I could be, the people cheered me.
Engaging, and still active in interviews and public appearances, fans remembered the man who had dominated wrestling rings around the world, turning himself into not just an athlete, but a cultural icon. To see him frail and helpless in those last leaked moments.
The only beer company that actually lives here, and there was an open lane that somebody dropped the ball on marketing-wise. I'm not going to name any names, and so we just started, and we came up with the name, the Real American Beer, way before we got our nation.
Reminded everyone that no matter how powerful or legendary someone may be, life can change in an instant. Hogan officially passed away on July 24, 2025, at the age of 71. Following a cardiac arrest, wrestling organizations, athletes, celebrities, and fans worldwide paid tribute to him. For decades, he had been more than a performer, he was a household name recognized by generations. Yet the leaked footage added a sad and deeply human layer to the story.
Chest on his chest. And I went, ah. I jumped back. All of a sudden, I'm leaning in, looking at his face and my chest on his chest. And I went, ah. I jumped back. I felt something come out of his body. And when it hit me, I don't know if it went in me or through me, but there's something more than just this meat suit, brother.
Reminding us all that behind the bright lights and fame, he too was mortal. In the weeks before his death, Hogan seemed busier than ever. He gave interviews, made podcast appearances, and even promoted his beer brand, Real American Beer. One of his final interviews was with comedian Theo Von on a podcast. What seemed like a casual, entertaining conversation at the time now feels incredibly significant, almost like a farewell message.
The kids were real aware of who I was, but the moment I would come home, bro, that Hulk Hogan thing was dropped
Really?
at the front door. I didn't have any pictures in my house of me, no wrestling crap in the house at all. I didn't want it in my house.
In it, Hogan spoke about his journey from being a young musician in Tampa to becoming one of the most recognizable entertainers in history. Even in his final days, his charisma shined. He was thoughtful, grounded, and reflective, showing a side of himself that fans rarely got to see.
Everything hurts, it's hard to explain. Like if I'm gonna brush my teeth and I'm leaning on the counter brushing my teeth, I can't push away. So when I'm done brushing my teeth, I have to lean in like that and then pull back. I can't push like a glass door open. Everything in the gym is short strokes. I can't straighten my arms out.
Yeah.
And then it's the same with my knees, my hips, my back, my neck. But that's because I probably wrestled too long and I didn't get the memo that stuff was fake.
He spoke openly about his friendships and rivalries in wrestling, particularly with Ric Flair. The way he described their adventures painted a vivid picture of two larger-than-life figures who, behind the scenes, shared real human bonds. He recalled Flair's health battles and the worrying he felt for his longtime friend. These stories reminded fans that beneath the glitz of wrestling, these were real people facing real struggles. But Hogan himself had endured countless health challenges. Decades of wrestling had taken a brutal toll on his body. In the last 10 to 12 years of his life, he admitted to undergoing more than 25 surgeries, including back, knee, and hip operations. In May 2025, just months before his passing, he even had a neck procedure. Despite the pain, Hogan spoke about these struggles in a calm and matter-of-fact way, never showing self-pity. He had learned to accept the physical price of his legendary career. When fans look back at these final interviews, the contrast is striking. On one hand, you hear a man who was full of wisdom, humor, and optimism. On the other, you see leaked footage of his last desperate moments. Together, they create a powerful picture of how quickly life can turn. In another major podcast appearance with Patrick Bet David, Hogan went even deeper. He talked about his father, faith, and his thoughts on life and death. He recalled being with his father in his last moments, describing the exact instant when he felt his dad's spirit leave his body. That experience had changed Hogan forever, making him believe there was more to life than just the physical world. His faith grew stronger in his later years, and he often spoke about it publicly. Looking back now, it feels almost like he was preparing himself for what was to come. The duality of these final moments, his heartfelt interviews versus the leaked emergency footage, raises uncomfortable questions about fame, privacy, and death in the digital era. Fans now have recordings of his final words and, sadly, his final moments. Some find comfort in it, while others feel it was a violation of his dignity. But either way, they have become part of his legacy. To fully understand why his passing had such a massive impact, we need to step back and remember where it all began. Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was the face of wrestling's global rise in the 1980s. His story started in the tough wrestling territories of the 1970s. At that time, the business was brutal. On his very first day of training, established wrestlers broke his leg to test him, expecting he would never return. But Hogan did return, tougher and more determined than before. Fueled by his father's words, "Don't ever let anyone hurt you again." That moment shaped him forever. Early on, he struggled. He wrestled under names like Sterling Golden and Terry Boulder, often quitting because of low pay and extreme pain. To make ends meet, he worked as a longshoreman in Tampa, often earning more in one day of physical labor than in a week of wrestling. But through these struggles, he learned discipline, respect, and resilience. The real breakthrough came when Hogan realized wrestling wasn't just about athletic ability, it was about connecting emotionally with the audience. He understood that the crowd's reaction mattered more than technical moves, that instinct would make him a superstar. His time wrestling in Japan also helped him toughen up and refine his style. There, he was nicknamed Ichiban, meaning number one, proving his international appeal even before he became a household name in America. Then came his big break, appearing in the movie Rocky III. That role caught the attention of wrestling promoters and set him on the path to superstardom. Vince McMahon Jr. saw Hogan's potential to become the face of a national wrestling company. Together, they launched what we now know as the WWE, breaking away from the old territorial system. Hogan became the hero audiences could rally behind, especially during the politically charged 1980s. His famous win over the Iron Sheik in 1984 for the WWF Championship was the birth of Hulkamania. From there, he became a cultural force. His "Say Your Prayers, Eat Your Vitamins" message inspired millions of children. His red and yellow outfits became iconic. He headlined 8 of the first 9 WrestleManias, and his match against Andre the Giant in 1987 at WrestleMania 3 became one of the most legendary moments in sports and entertainment history, with over 93,000 fans in attendance. Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was an American hero. His influence extended far beyond the ring. He appeared in movies, TV shows, cartoons, and commercials. Kids wore his merchandise, imitated his catchphrases, and saw him as a role model. Through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, he became one of the most requested celebrities of the 1980s, showing just how much hope he gave to young fans facing illness. But like all legends, Hogan's journey had its ups and downs. In the 1990s, his career got a second life when he shocked the world by turning villain in WCW, forming the New World Order NWO. This bold move redefined wrestling again and kept him at the center of the industry for another decade. Fans loved to hate him, proving his adaptability as an entertainer. Yet his personal life wasn't without controversy. In 2015, racist comments he had made years earlier surfaced, leading to his removal from WWE. For a time, his reputation suffered greatly. But by 2018, WWE reinstated him, and slowly, fans began to forgive, recognizing both his mistakes and his contributions to wrestling. This chapter showed the complexities of public redemption in today's world. By his later years, Hogan's body was battered from decades of punishment. He admitted to constant pain and multiple surgeries, yet he continued to show resilience. His humor and optimism never faded. He focused on business ventures like Real American Beer and leaned heavily on his faith. His marriage to Sky Daly marked a calmer, more grounded chapter in his personal life. When news of his passing broke, tributes flooded in. Fellow wrestlers, celebrities, politicians, and fans all remembered him as a once-in-a-lifetime figure. But the most powerful tributes came from ordinary people, fans who said Hogan's words and example had helped them through their darkest times. For many, his message of never giving up had been more than just a slogan, it had been life-changing. Advice. The debate around the leaked video of his last moments continues. Some argue it should never have been shared. Others say it showed the human side of a legend. Either way, it has become part of how people remember him. As wrestling historian Dave Meltzer once said, "You can't possibly overrate his significance. He sold more tickets than any man who ever lived." That may be true statistically, but his real legacy was in the millions of lives he inspired. In the end, Hulk Hogan's greatest accomplishment wasn't the championships he won or the records he set. It was the belief he gave people, the belief that they could face life's challenges, no matter how big, and come out stronger. His catchphrase, "What you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" wasn't just entertainment. It was a message to believe in yourself, work hard, and never quit. Hogan's story from a shy, overweight teenager who once lacked confidence, to the biggest star in wrestling, to a man who inspired generations, embodies the spirit of the American dream. His final moments may have been heartbreaking, but his legacy remains larger than life. Courage, perseverance, and hope, that's what Hulk